Please help me in giving a very warm lift welcome to Ben Reuler.
Yes, as Kirsten said, I am Ben Reuler, the proud executive director of Lyft Chicago, but tonight I know my place, so you can just call me the other Ben. I'm cool with that. Don't bother. Thank you, Kirsten. Kirsten's vision of disrupting the status quo is why we're all here tonight. My heart is just swelling with happiness tonight. Thank you to our host committee, our board, our event co-chairs. Thank you to the incomparable Stephanie Lazarus, our development associate, who orchestrated all the logistics for tonight. Thank you to Isaiah, our Lyft client and neighbor, who volunteered to greet us with his music in the lobby this evening. And of course, to all of our volunteers and alumni and community partners, and also my colleagues from across the Lyft network, especially the team here in Chicago. Thank you all so much. I want to give love to the small businesses that have supported us here this evening, the wonderful Pistol and Vine Flower Shop that donated all the beautiful flower arrangements, P45, the clothing boutique that's been a longtime ally and friend of Lyft Chicago's, Global Printing for doing all the materials you see tonight in kind, our media sponsor, Make It Better Magazine, our silver sponsors, United Airlines, Jim and Wendy Abrams, Bob and Krista Bolt, Tim and Elizabeth Dugan, Bruce and Vicki Heyman, Neil Lenhoff and Matt Kunkel, Brandon and Aaron Ritchie, our gold sponsors, Yelp and Christy and Steve Furco, and of course our platinum sponsors tonight, JP Morgan Chase. JP Morgan Chase has been a catalytic investor in Lyft Chicago, and we're so thankful. To Loyola University Chicago, whose very own Father Michael Garanzini, who's here as a board member and a champion of Lyft, and to the whole family at Loyola University Chicago, thank you for being such strong partners with Lyft. And finally to Sodexo. For the second year in a row now, Sodexo has donated all of the food and catering for our event. I'm going to say it again. Lyft did not pay a dime for any of this food you're eating tonight. To Steve Mangan, Alberto Ortega, and the whole family at Sodexo, thank you for being the gold standard. Thank you for everything you do for Lyft Chicago and the communities that you serve. Thank you. Now, nearly a decade ago, my wife and I moved to Chicago. I arrived here optimistic with some promising job leads, including one that I was a finalist for. But I will never forget the day. I got 2 phone calls. 1, I did not get the job I was counting on. And 2, the state said that I did not qualify for unemployment benefits. And I was a mess. I had this growing pit in my stomach that I wasn't going to be able to support my family. I started hypothesizing what my grandma would say if I asked her if we could move in with her. I got so desperate I applied for a job as a character actor at the Museum of Science and Industry in the coal mine. Keep in mind, I've never done a day of acting in my life, let alone coal mining, right? I was freaked out. You know, I just wanted to do the things we all wanted to do. I wanted to be self-reliant, I wanted to support my family, and I wanted to work. I really just wanted to work. And the thought of having to ask anybody for help really freaked me out. But after that sort of initial freak out, I regrouped, in large thanks to my wonderful wife, Aisha, who's here, who had my back. Aisha helped me keep my confidence up. We had some savings from our wedding that gave us a little bit of a cushion for a couple months. But then something remarkable happened. My deep posse of aunts and uncles and family friends from throughout the Chicago area started mobilizing as my outreach team. It was like I had my own personal Get Ben a Job task force, you know? Uncle Eddie put me in touch with a friend of his for an informational interview. My dad's college roommate from U of I in the 60s did the same thing. My Uncle Brad suggested that I consider applying for a job at the consulting firm where he worked in the research department. Well, I did that, and I got that job. And I worked at that consulting firm for a year before going to grad school. And by the way, my college-educated parents helped me edit my personal statement for my grad school application. Now, I was persistent, I was motivated, and I was determined. But if I'm keeping it real with all of you, I need to admit that I benefited from tremendous privilege. The privilege of having a supportive spouse, some savings to get me over the hump for a few months, and a slew of college-educated family members with college-educated friends all throughout Chicago who were helping me out. And it was that privilege that prevented me from spiraling into a financial and emotional abyss. It was that privilege that made my shaky ground moment back then, in retrospect, just a blip. If anything, kind of a nice character-building notch on my belt. Now, for many of Lyft's clients, they don't have the privilege that I had. For many of them, their life is a shaky ground moment. I like to call it a trauma marinade. And for half of our clients here in Chicago, children are involved. Have you ever been on hold with a customer service rep, and then you tell your story, and then they transfer you to somebody, and then you tell your story to them, and then they transfer you, and then you're disconnected all of a sudden? And you're so infuriated, you just want to throw the phone at the wall? Well, that's what a lot of our clients, that's a space they exist in 24/7, just kind of left to sort of figure it out, right? But then the question becomes, how do people figure it out? How does one figure it out? Well, for 2,454 of our neighbors throughout the Chicago area last year, they came to Lyft, right? And what do we do at Lyft? You saw the video. In our simplest terms, we kick into my wife, Aisha, Reuler mode, keep people's confidence up. We kick into Uncle Eddie mode. We kick into Uncle Brad mode. We pair our clients with a friendly, well-trained, optimistic, persistent, tech-savvy volunteer advocate like Pierce, who you saw in the video. And our advocates help our clients set goals and access opportunity. And they access that opportunity, one skill, one resume, one cover letter, one housing application, one referral to LensCrafter gift of sight, one Goodwill voucher, one mock interview, one new email account, one job application, one phone call to a landlord, one credit report, one Google search, one dap, one hug, one handshake at a time. It takes a village, right? It really takes a village. I had the privilege of having that village in my personal network. And I encourage all of you to think about your shaky ground moments, right? None of us are immune from shaky ground moments. Think of your shaky ground moment. Who had your back? Who lifted you? Now, we owe it to our clients at Lyft, our dignified, resilient clients like the folks you saw in that video, like Isaiah, who was here playing the guitar. We owe it to them to have state-of-the-art facilities and top-of-the-line talent, so quite frankly, we can be the best lifters in the galaxy. And that's why we're here tonight. As Allison said, we're trying to raise $30,000 tonight. Please help us get a head start. Let's see if we can get halfway there in the next 15 minutes before Ben Harper plays. Please keep in mind those who have lifted you. Even consider making a donation in their honor. There will be Lyft volunteers with Lyft t-shirts all around the room. So let's take a 15-minute break, grab another drink, swipe a credit card, write a check, and then hustle back to your seat because we have one heck of a show in store for you all tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you.